difficulties. This has been a wild ride. So thanks for sticking
Third
with
time's
us.
a charm.
Third time's a charm. All right, we're going to jump right in. Lucas Giolito. I believe he ends up in a Red Sox uniform because what's better than a guy that has a 3.5 career ERA, a guy that has a 4.5 career ERA? So that's my thoughts there. So
I feel like Giolito ends up somewhere irrelevant.
well, it just says Shohei may seek contract with exceedingly high average annual salary but shorter years.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Go max out, I guess. But
right.
um,
Anyways,
I feel like Giolito could go to. I could see him with the Mets. I could see him with the Red Sox. I could see him potentially with like an Arizona. I could see him somewhere on the West Coast with one of those teams, Dodgers, Giants, Padres, who needs a pitcher. The Red Sox have long loved this guy. I'm gonna say the Red Sox. I'm gonna say the Red Sox. I think he could end up somewhere else just as easily, but I'll go Red Sox.
Okay. Whit Merrifield. This could be that second base hole the Red Sox are looking for. Could he re-sign in Toronto with the question marks with Kevin Biggio, like his whole career? What are your thoughts on him?
I feel like he's going to be a guy who's going to have some options. I think second base is a tough spot to fill in this league. There's not a lot of great second basemen. I think the Red Sox are absolutely going to kick the tires on him and talk to him. I think that there's going to be a number of teams in the West Coast that have similar conversations with him. I originally had liked the idea of him coming to Boston. I think that if the Red Sox really don't think they can salvage Tim Anderson, they go to Whit Merrifield. I think the Red Sox think they can salvage Tim Anderson. Whit Merrifield ends up going somewhere else. In my scenario where they do think they can salvage him, I think Whit Merrifield ends up going somewhere like Anaheim or the Giants, or he's going to land out west somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't have a great spot for him.
Okay.
So I'll go Angels. I don't know.
Okay. Perfect.
I really have no idea where he's going to go.
Yeah. I feel like I have Red Sox on here a lot, but I really do think that he could fit with second base being a question mark right now. And I don't really have another place for him other than going back to Toronto. So just for the sake of not being a homer, I think he just re-signs with the Jays.
Yeah, and another team that I heard rumors of is that the Athletics were interested in him.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize the A's signed anybody. So
yeah, right. Crazy. All right, this is an interesting one. Yeimer Candelario. I think if Torres moves in the offseason, I think he ends up in New York. That's where I think Candelario might end up going. That's my guess there.
I could see that. I think Candelario's home is going to be dictated by other people. I think I like him in Chicago. Yeah, I think he's a good fit there. If Chapman goes somewhere else, I could see Arizona going after him. Again, he's a durable guy, good option. I can see the Blue Jays going after him as the backfill for Chapman because I think he's a slightly different player than Chapman is.
Yep.
He got up to a great start with the Cubs, then he kind of faltered. So I'm going to go. I'm going to say that in what I've laid out, I think Candelario ends up with the Blue Jays because everybody else's position is filled.
Okay. I don't mind that pick at all. All right. Since I have not picked a single player to stay with their current team other than Lourdes Gurriel Jr., I'm going to say that the Orioles re-signed Jack Flaherty. There are rumors about the Rays making a splash for him. I mean, I would love the Red Sox to make a run at him. I think he could be a hot commodity. I mean, he came to Baltimore and pitched pretty well for them.
He did. He was good for them. He really
was. He's injured. He's injured a lot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. He's an interesting one. But what are your thoughts on Jack Flaherty?
Yeah, he's not going to go anywhere where he's the guy. He's going to be just another guy in the rotation. I think
Yeah.
he's a depth player. I think teams like the Twins are going to kick the tires on him. I think the Red Sox kick the tires on him. The Orioles will kick the tires on him. The Cardinals will talk about bringing him back. I've heard a lot of talk about the Angels. They're going to try to go grab him and try to build around him, which makes no sense to me. I like him staying with the Orioles. I agree with you. I think he'll stay put.
Okay.
But I do think a guy like him, who's a kind of a high ceiling guy, will get a lot of phone calls.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So, like I said, there's a lot more free agents that we could have covered tonight.
There's
but
so many, it's crazy.
Just kind of started with those. But yeah, I think we're going to see it the first week of December. Winter meetings is going to be absolutely insane with the trade talks with Soto and all of that. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen.
One player I want to ask you about, Nick, Justin
Yep.
Turner. We've kicked around the idea of Justin Turner leaving the Red Sox, going back to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I've heard there's been a lot of conversation about a guy like Justin Turner going to the Cubs, maybe going to the Brewers. He's going to be kind of like a bat for hire this offseason.
Yep.
Same with Adam Duvall.
Yep. So Turner, I could honestly see going to a place like maybe Seattle, just kind of DHing there, maybe back on the West Coast. What was the other name you just said?
You had Turner, Duvall.
Oh, Duvall. I think he goes back to the Braves or the Marlins. He's going to somewhere over there. One or two of these guys is going to end up on the Mets. It's just inevitable. But I mean, I don't know. I think Duvall goes back to the Braves, and I think maybe Turner ends up in a place like Seattle, somewhere they could possibly compete. But yeah, I think ultimately that's where Turner could go is the Mariners. That would be my guess for Justin Turner.
There's so many good depth players out there on this free agent list. It'll be interesting to see where they all land.
Yeah. So I agree. All right. So yeah. Morgan, thanks for chiming in there and definitely giving us different thoughts and looks on that, because it's good to hear other people's perspectives on where they're going to go and possibly like that. So it's going to be wild, but it all depends on one dude, which is absolutely insane.
It really is.
But
so we made 23 picks, Nick. If each one of us gets 5 of those right, I'd be shocked.
I'll be shocked if I get one right. So
this is one of those few off season where there's no clear movement.
No.
There's going to be signings where we go, where'd that come from?
Yep. Yeah. Whoever has the most money pretty much is what it's going to come down to.
It's going to be wild.
Interesting. All right. So we have some other things that we're going to try to cover here real quick as we splice these 3 shows together here. Goodness gracious. So managerial hires, front office news. Ron Washington takes the job in Anaheim. Love Ron Washington, but good freaking luck, dude. That place is more. I have nothing to say about the Angels other than
Ron Washington is a great baseball guy. That is a bad baseball town.
Yeah.
Bad baseball organization. He couldn't cut it as a manager in other places. I don't see this being a good fit for him either.
Yeah. I don't
and his his legacy is just going to get all screwed up because of it.
I mean, you're not going to say no to go manage Mike Trout if he doesn't move in the offseason. But
right. But who else is going to be out there?
Yeah, no.
You got nothing to work with out there. The freaking cupboard is bare.
Yeah, agree. Diamondbacks extend Torey Lovullo through the 2026 season. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, not a huge commitment, though.
Not a huge commitment, but he took that team and they definitely overperformed. And he's a huge part of the reason why. He knew how to manage that club. He had a great pulse on them. And the Diamondbacks are going to be fun to watch for a few years here to come. So,
and we talked about the impact that Bochy had on the Rangers. Lovullo had a big impact on that D-backs team for sure.
Absolutely. Don Mattingly is considered to replace Craig Counsell in Milwaukee, which, you know what? That could be a really good fit for them, I think.
I thought Don Mattingly was all in on that Nashville thing.
I think he still is. I think he's one of the, I don't know, not principal owners, but he's kind of helping funding it or whatever.
He's giving it credibility.
He's on that team or whatever. But Yeah, he's being considered for it. Other than that, I haven't really heard of who could replace,
Well,
them as the
I still love the reaction from the Brewers. Like, are you messing with me? You're going to the Cubs?
right. Yeah, I haven't heard of any other candidates that.
No, nothing to this
Um,
point.
yeah.
Jason Varitek came out and said he wants to manage, even if it's not in Boston.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah, it was a quote either yesterday or today.
Dang. What else do I got here? The Mets aren't planning on filling their general manager position, which is
Yeah, I saw
crazy
that.
to me.
It strange.
Sure. I guess the president will just do it all, I guess, at that point. I mean,
It's yeah. I mean, and these titles, general manager, president of baseball operations, chief baseball officer, whatever they want to call themselves. I mean, they're all kind of the same general role, but it's funny to have a president of baseball ops and nobody in that general manager seat underneath them. So that means the president of baseball ops has got to run basically the entire front office, all of the scouting, all of the minor leagues, all the game day ops. It's like, how are you going to do that all?
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. The Mets
It's
are going to be a
interesting.
disaster for a while. So
Yeah. And the Padres are still trying to narrow down their managerial candidates. They got 4 now because Phil Nevin has entered the chat, and so has Benji Gill. So
where did Phil
they're
Nevin come from?
from just out of left field.
Like,
Ever since he got let go in Anaheim,
I
he's
didn't think
now
there was
entered.
any suitors for him.
Yep. Well, I mean, of course, San Diego would be. So
That team is such a mess. You need a veteran, experienced. You need like a Buck Showalter out there to get that group in line.
yeah, something. But
Although it
I don't
didn't work
know.
in New York with Buck, so maybe Buck's
I
not the
was
guy.
just,
But
yeah, I was just gonna say, but somebody like that possibly. But I don't know. We'll see.
let's ship the Red Sox should ship them Alex Cora. Let him go figure it out.
Goodness gracious. I got nothing for that guy. But
Yeah, so
right.
it was an article today, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Jason Varitek said he's willing to leave the organization to manage if an opportunity comes up, and that the opportunity to talk with the Giants was good for him to get outside of the Red Sox organization and talk to other people.
Hate that.
So Varitek wants to manage. He's basically now on record saying he wants to manage, and he will go somewhere else if he has to. So is that Jason Varitek saying, "Hey, I'm open and want to manage," or is that Jason Varitek telling the Red Sox, "Hey, I'm going to manage. If you want me, move fast"?
Yeah, I think it's a combo of both. To be honest,
think so.
Yeah, I would love to see Cora go bye and move Veritek into that seat.
100%. I will help Cora pack his bags. Let's go.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's rattle off a couple trivia questions here for the reels. So here we go. Who's the only player to hit a walk-off inside the park grand slam?
Oh my goodness. Walk off inside the park grand slam?
Yep.
How recent was it?
I would say 60s. He's my ultimate favorite player.
Willie Mays.
Nope.
Oh boy.
Right fielder.
Right fielder.
Pirates.
Pirates. Oh goodness. Back in that era, it was Stargell, Mazeroski.
Yep. Who was the right fielder?
I know. Clemente.
Yes.
I was like, my goodness, I've hit every position but right field.
Yep. Roberto Clemente.
That's crazy.
Walk off inside the park grand slam. Pretty cool.
That's
all right.
Impressive.
Next one. Which pitcher had the most games with 15 or more strikeouts in his career?
Oh boy. Modern era or older?
We've seen him pitch.
Oh, okay.
Very dominant.
Randy Johnson.
29.
Wow.
29 games with 15 or more strikeouts.
A stat like that, I immediately think of Johnson, Clemens, Pedro Martinez, and Bob Gibson. Those are the 4 guys that immediately come to mind.
Yep. And they were probably 1, 2, 3, 4.
They probably were. It's probably all of them up there.
All right. This one requires a little bit of thinking because you got to know which players played for both teams here. So here we go.
Yeah.
Name the first 3 players who homered for both the New York Mets and the New York Yankees in the postseason.
Oh boy, Ventura,
Nope.
Mets and Yankees.
Oddly enough, they're all left-handed hitters.
Of course they are, because that short porch.
Mm-hmm.
Cano.
No, good guess, but
Oh
not
man,
Robinson Cano. One was
did
in the 80s.
did Granderson play for both?
Yes, Curtis Granderson is one.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
One was in the 80s, huh?
Yeah, 80s, early 90s.
Strawberry.
Darryl Strawberry, yep.
Okay,
And the
Daryl
last
Strawberry.
one, you don't really think of him as a Yankee or a Met. Most of his career was somewhere else in the AL East.
Oh man.
Plays first base.
Oh.
Wore a helmet in the field.
Oh, John Olerud.
John Olerud, yeah.
I don't think of Olerud as a Yankee at all.
Yankee or Met. I mean, a little bit more
I
of a
remember
Met
him
than,
with the Mets, but yeah, I
right.
think it's Blue Jays and Mets. That's all I remember.
Yep, exactly. So it's pretty crazy. All right, the
I
last.
love Olerud, most
Oh
underrated
yeah,
guy ever.
yeah, absolutely. He had that like Luis Ariz type season where he
Oh,
was
yeah.
chasing 400 for a while and then kind of tailed off. But yeah,
That dude did everything in slow motion. It was just all effortless.
yeah, so fun to watch. All right, last one I got this week. Can you name the first 2 players to hit 6 grand slams in a single season?
Well, the first one I knew immediately, Mattingly,
Yep, Don
because
Mattingly.
he hit all of his career grand slams, I think, in one season.
Yeah, that is so funny because it's like grand slams in Mattingly's career. It's like 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 6 0 0 0 0 0 0
I don't think
0.
they were all in one season, which is the craziest
Yeah.
thing ever.
Yep, Don Mattingly.
So 6 of the season, and my immediate gut reaction after that goes to Robin Ventura, who hit a ton of grand slams.
Yeah,
And then you had 2 other guys who had a bunch of grand slams. That you hit grand slams in bunches, which were Jim Thome and Travis Hafner.
yeah, but it's Travis Hafner.
Yep.
Yep. So that's pretty crazy. 6 grand slams in a season.
How about 2 in the same game?
Yeah, right. Although Royce Lewis was pretty close to it in about
Jeez.
2 weeks this year.
Yeah, he finished with what, 5 on the season?
I think so, and he had like 4 in a week and a half.
Oh my! Every night it was like, oh, grand slam, oh, grand slam. I mean, how many? The funny part is like when you look at some of these guys, how many chances do they have in their life to hit a grand slam?
Yeah.
Like, what's that conversion rate?
Right.
With Royce Lewis was like 100%.
Yeah.
Which just doesn't happen.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap up this absolute debacle of a show this week, and
our technical difficulty filled show.
Oh man, my goodness, that was crazy. All right, so we are going to discuss Dylan Cease has been announced to be on the trade block. So
I mean, I feel like the White Sox are going to tear this thing to the ground. They have to.
Yeah, I would not mind Dylan Cease,
boy,
in my rotation. I don't care what team you root for. Just having that dude in your rotation just makes it better.
Yeah, and if he gets traded, that changes all of those picks again.
Yep.
that dude is nasty. Although last year was not his best year, so it's not the best time to trade him. But
I mean, if you're in an organization like that, how could you get motivated to go out and pitch for that team?
You don't.
Like you don't. Can't. I don't care.
You hate life at that point.
Yeah, it would be really hard for me to get up for that.
It's like, how does Mike Trout do that year after year? Like, get ready to go play for a team you know isn't going to win.
Because, like, this might not be a popular opinion, but he doesn't care.
Yeah, maybe not. But,
think
of the trivia you had a few weeks ago. You know, Ernie Banks, only guy to never make a playoff appearance.
Right.
How do you get up every day, go out there and play hard, knowing that you've got zero chance of ever seeing the postseason?
Yeah, I don't. It's crazy.
I don't get it.
Interesting here. Trevor Bauer's agent is talking to some MLB teams, so we could possibly see Trevor Bauer in the MLB. Reports were that he was scouted and he got clocked at 99.4. So he's still bringing it. It would be interesting to see where he goes.
I mean,
I don't know. It's crazy. I don't care what team you root for. Yeah, it's interesting here. Trevor Bauer's agent is talking to some MLB teams, so we could possibly see Trevor Bauer in the MLB. Reports were that he was scouted and he got clocked at 99.4. So he's still bringing it. It would be interesting to see where he goes. Now, does he do kind of like an Aroldis Chapman and like sign with the Royals and get his feet wet back in the league and then maybe gets traded, or,
Yep.
only gets a 1 or 2 year deal with an opt out and, tries to go that way? What are your thoughts on that? Do we see Trevor Bauer in the MLB next year?
I've been saying for 2 years this guy's gotten hosed and robbed of his prime. I definitely think you see him back in MLB. And the first time we had this whole thing blow up on us, Nick, and I was in the studio by myself for a little while. Morgan and I went back and forth on the Bauer thing for a few minutes. He wants to see him go back to the Dodgers and pick up where he left off. I don't think the Dodgers will get back on that train. I think
don't
they've
think
had
so
enough
either.
of it. They were arguably complicit in getting him out of baseball.
Yeah.
But I could see him landing in a place like Houston or Texas or Anaheim or the Twins or the Marlins on like a short-term incentive-laden contract, kind of a prove it kind of deal. Show us you're still that guy, and we'll get you, we'll let you earn your money. But that if you bring this guy back, so last year his fastball velocity was up over a mile per hour from where he was in the league. Granted, a year or two off does that for you.
Right.
His breaking stuff was as sharp as ever, and he after his first few starts that were kind of bumpy, he was like almost unhittable. The dude still has ridiculously good stuff, and if you give that guy the opportunity to go on a revenge tour, he's going to shove it up everybody's hoo-ha the whole
Yep.
year, because he's going to just be determined to show Major League Baseball that you did me wrong, and I'm going to remind you of that.
Yep. He
That's
is
a
definitely that type of persona that he's
that's a
totally going to do that.
motivated dude.
Yep. I agree. 1,000%.
So is he back in MLB? Absolutely. Where does he go? No idea. But there's going to be some teams that are absolutely going to look at bringing him in.
Yeah, I agree. I think he ends up, like I said, somewhere like Oakland, Kansas City, like some team that's like desperate for an arm.
Yep.
Red Sox. I mean, like it's somewhere that they just need an extra arm.
I mean,
and they have nothing to lose by signing him.
Nope. No way. Somebody's going to. I mean, Morgan's point was, everybody already hates the Astros. Why not just send him there? Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the Astros care, but
Yeah.
he's going to have to rehabilitate his image. But you give that dude an incentive-laden contract and the opportunity to go on a revenge tour, look out. He'll go win you 20 games, and he will. You want to see? Wait till he strikes out guys. Poster child guys. Wait to
Right.
see the antics on the mound.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
It will be nuts.
Yeah. The last thing I have is obviously Corbin Carroll and Gunnar Henderson win Rookie of the Year. There's no debate that it's these
Zero.
two guys. I mean,
Zero.
They won this by a landslide, and there's no room for debate. Sorry
Nope.
about it. But yeah,
that was the easiest voting ever.
For sure. I mean, both of them should have won it unanimously. I don't know if they did or not, but they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, that's all I have for tonight after all of that. Do you have anything to add on top of that?
No, I think we hit it. I think we're going to learn a lot in the next few weeks about how this offseason is going to play out. There's indications that Ohtani is ready to pick somebody. He wants to sign soon to get that out of the way. And he also wants to begin to help recruit other players there too. So I think once the Shohei decision is made, the rest of the offseason becomes a lot more clear. Until then, I have no idea what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah, I am with you. We're just waiting for that shoe to drop finally. Yep. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for sticking with us through all that technical difficulty. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share our podcast. You can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And we will be back on, hopefully with less technical difficulties, next Monday at 8 p.m. See you then.
See ya.